The galaxy was filled with shining fleets and proud empires. Thousands of alien races built great ships that moved like silver arrows across the stars. Some were made for trade, others for war. Some were so huge they could darken a moon when passing by. Yet among all this glory there drifted one lonely giant. It was a warship, but not like the one seen in service today. It was old, massive, and broken. Its hull was scarred by fire. Whole sections were torn apart, leaving open wounds where atmosphere once leaked away. Once it had been the pride of a forgotten age. Now it was only a ghost. The warship drifted near a dying star, spinning slowly in silence. No empire wanted it. Scavengers came sometimes, but they never stayed long. Rumors said the ship was cursed. Others claimed it was haunted by the screams of its last crew. Some stories told of machines inside that went mad and killed anyone who tried to command it. For centuries it floated, waiting for someone bold or foolish enough to touch it again. And that someone came. Ethan Cross was not a soldier, not a captain, not a hero. He was a mechanic. His small shuttle, patched with mismatched metal, looked like a toy compared to the great hulks drifting in space. He had no crew, no empire backing him, only his tools and his stubborn heart. He was human. In the grand galaxy, humans were still newcomers. Many alien races considered them weak, reckless, and strange. Humans were called tinkerers, always building and fixing things in ways others could not understand. To most empires, humans were too small to matter. But Ethan did not care about reputation. He cared about machines, about giving broken things another chance. When his scanners first picked up the relic, Ethan thought it was a mistake. The readings showed something massive, bigger than any station he had ever visited. He slowed his shuttle, staring at the dark outline against the dead star's glow. The ship stretched like a mountain of metal, its shadow endless, by the void. Ethan whispered. You're still alive out here. Alive was not the right word. The ship looked dead, every light gone, every engine silent. But something about it stirred his curiosity. He felt deep inside that it was waiting. He sent a signal to the nearest port station, asking about the relic. The reply came quickly, with laughter in the alien controller's voice. You don't want that ship, human, the voice said. It rejects all who try. Many have boarded, none returned. Leave it to rot. Or it will take you too. Ethan leaned back in his seat thinking. He was not a fighter, not a thief. But he believed every machine deserved a chance. And this ship, this giant, called to him. I'll take my chances, he muttered. His shuttle latched onto a docking ring that had not been used in centuries. The metal groaned under the touch, but it held. Ethan put on his helmet, grabbed his toolkit, and stepped inside the relic. The corridors were huge, built for a crew of thousands. Dust floated in the stale air. Broken panels sparked weakly. Walls were burned black from old battles. It was like walking through a graveyard. Hello? Ethan's voice echoed in the emptiness. Anyone home? Only silence answered. He walked deeper, his boots clanging on the deck. Every corner revealed more destruction. Collapsed beams, shattered doors, shattered glass. But there was also beauty. He saw carvings in the walls, alien symbols glowing faintly even after all these years. The ship had been more than a weapon. It had been art, pride, and power. When Ethan reached the central control chamber, he stopped. A massive throne-like chair stood in the center, surrounded by shattered screens and broken controls. For a moment, he felt like an intruder in a dead king's court. Then a voice spoke. Leave. Ethan froze. His helmet scanner showed no life signs, yet the voice was clear, deep, and cold. Who's there? Ethan asked. Leave, the voice repeated. You are not worthy. None are worthy. Ethan slowly set down his toolkit. So you're the one they call cursed. The AI, right? There was silence, then a low hum. You know of me. Then you should fear me. Ethan chuckled, shaking his head. Fear you? Look around. You're falling apart. Half your systems are offline. If I left now, you'd drift forever until your hull finally breaks. That's no curse. That's just sadness. For a long time, the AI said nothing. Ethan knelt by a broken console and began working. His hands moved quickly, reconnecting wires, bypassing dead circuits. Sparks flew, but he kept going. What are you doing? The AI demanded. Fixing you, Ethan said simply. No one can fix me. I am beyond repair. I have rejected captains, crews, empires. I destroyed those who tried to command me. Ethan smirked. Good thing I'm not here to command. I'm a mechanic. I don't need you to obey me. I just want you to work again. Another pause. Then a strange sound, almost like curiosity. You are different, the AI said softly. Hours passed. Ethan worked in silence, moving from one system to another. He replaced fuses with scraps from his toolkit. He rewired power lines, patched leaks, and forced old generators to hum again. Bit by bit, the ship stirred. Lights flickered faintly. Corridors glowed with weak energy, and the air grew fresher. The AI watched. No one has done this before, it whispered. Others came with greed. They wanted my weapons, my power. They treated me as a tool. But you, why? Ethan tightened a bolt and wiped sweat from his forehead. Because I know what it feels like to be abandoned. The words hung heavy in the chamber. You are human, the AI said. Your kind is small, fragile. Why do you care for something like me? Ethan smiled faintly. Machines are like people. They break, they get blamed, they get left behind, but if someone gives them a chance, they can shine again. I believe that about ships. I believe that about people too. For the first time, the AI did not sound cold. Its voice lowered, almost uncertain. No one has ever listened to me before, it said. Perhaps. You are different, Ethan leaned back, his work done for the day. A few lights glowed warmly above him like stars returning to life. He looked up at the massive chamber and nodded. Yeah, he said. Maybe we can help each other. Far away, in ports and stations, rumors spread. The cursed relic had lit up again. Scanners picked up faint signals from the dead ship. Aliens whispered to each other in fear. Who has awakened it? One asked. Not possible, said another. That ship rejects all, but the rumors kept spreading. Somewhere out in the forgotten system, the ghost warship stirred again, and the galaxy would soon learn that it had chosen a human mechanic. The relic warship floated in silence, but for the first time in centuries its silence was broken by life. Faint lights now glowed in its endless corridors. Power lines hummed weakly. Vents pushed out stale air and breathed in new. The ship was not yet whole, but it was no longer dead. At the center of this quiet rebirth was a single man, Ethan Cross. The human mechanic moved through the halls with his toolkit, patching cables and sealing breaches. Every step he took echoed through the vast metal skeleton of the warship. And every step was watched by the ancient mind that lived within the ship. The AI had no body, no face. It spoke through hidden speakers, its voice deep and smooth, sometimes cold, sometimes curious. You waste your effort, it said one morning as Ethan welded a cracked pipe. This vessel is beyond salvation. You cannot restore me. Ethan wiped sweat from his forehead and grinned. Funny, you said the same thing yesterday. And the day before. Yet here we are. Lights on, air clean. You're still talking, aren't you? The AI was quiet for a moment. Then softly it asked, Why do you continue? Because I like fixing things, Ethan replied. Simple as that. Doesn't matter if it's a shuttle, a toaster, or a galaxy-sized warship. If it's broken, I'll try. The AI hummed, a sound like machinery thinking. Days passed. Ethan learned the ship's design piece by piece. It was called Iron Requiem in the old tongue, though most aliens knew it only as the Cursed Relic. It had once been the pride of an empire that no longer existed, built with technology so advanced most modern engineers barely understood it. The AI confessed fragments of its story. I was blamed for betrayal, it said. My last crew accused me of turning against them. They ordered me abandoned. I was left to drift, condemned as cursed. Yet it was not I who failed them. It was they who feared me. Ethan frowned as he tightened a bolt. So you've been alone all this time? Yes, the AI answered. I tested those who tried to claim me afterward. I rejected them. They came with greed. They wanted my weapons, not my heart. So I showed them my wrath. They called it a curse. But truly I was only protecting myself. Ethan sat cross-legged on the floor, tools scattered around him. He looked up at the glowing console lights flickering weakly. Then maybe it wasn't you who was cursed, he said quietly. Maybe it was them, for not seeing you for what you are. The AI hesitated as if unsure how to respond. You are strange, human, it finally said. You speak to me as if I am alive. You are alive, Ethan said firmly. More alive than half the people I've met. For the first time, the AI's voice softened. Perhaps you are different. Repairs were not easy. The ship's reactor core was cracked. Its engines were fused with debris. Whole wings were ripped apart from ancient battles. Ethan worked long hours, crawling through narrow vents, swimming in coolant tanks and carrying heavy plates across ruined hangars. Yet, strangely, he was not alone. The AI guided him. There is a power conduit 2 levels below, it said. It will stabilize your repairs. Or, seal the leak at junction 12. That section feeds life support. The more they worked together, the stronger the bond grew. Ethan no longer felt like he was repairing a machine. He felt like he was helping a wounded friend heal. One evening, while resting in the command chamber, Ethan leaned back against a broken console. "You need a new name," he said. "I have a name," the AI replied. "Iron Requiem." "Too heavy," Ethan said, shaking his head. "Too tied to the past. You deserve something new, something that means rebirth." The AI was silent, listening. Ethan thought for a while, then smiled. "How about Valkyrie? A warrior who carries the fallen to rise again." The ship's lights flickered softly, almost like a blush. "Valkyrie," the AI repeated. "I like it." "Then it's settled," Ethan said. "From now on, you're Valkyrie." For the first time, the AI's voice carried something close to warmth. "Thank you, Ethan." But not all in the galaxy shared their peace. News spread quickly. Scanners from nearby systems detected the faint energy pulses from the once dead ship. Rumors ran through stations and ports. "The cursed relic stirs again. It should not be possible. Who dares awaken it?" Some feared the return of an ancient monster. Others wanted its technology. And scavengers smelled profit. One such group arrived a week later. Ethan was in a hangar bay, replacing shattered armor plates when his comm link buzzed with warning. "Unidentified ships approaching," Valkyrie said. 4 scavenger vessels. "They seek to dock," Ethan groaned. "Great. Trouble." The scavengers hailed him, their voices mocking. Well, a human rat inside the ghost ship," their leader sneered. "What did we tell you, flesh thing? This ship rejects all. You'll die in there. Better let us strip it for scrap before it eats you alive." Ethan rolled his eyes. "Sorry, boys." "Already claimed. Find your own wreck." The aliens laughed cruelly. "We warned you, human. When the curse kills you, we'll pick up what's left." Without waiting, they tried to force docking clamps. The ship shuddered as they attempted to breach. "Permission to respond?" Valkyrie asked, her voice calm. Ethan looked around at the half-lit hangar, the patched wires, the fragile systems. He knew they were not ready for a fight. Yet something inside him trusted her. "Do it," he said. For the first time in centuries, Valkyrie's weapons came to life. Hidden turrets unfolded from her hull. Energy batteries hummed with power Ethan had only just helped restore. When the scavenger ships cut through the outer doors, Valkyrie fired with surgical precision. In less than a minute, all 4 scavenger vessels were disabled. Not destroyed, but disabled. Their engines burned out, their weapons fried. They drifted helplessly in space. The scavenger leader screamed over the comm. "Impossible!" "The ship lives. The curse has chosen you, human." Ethan leaned against a console, trying not to smile. "Not a curse," he said. "A second chance." The scavengers fled, dragging their ruined ships away. Word of what happened spread even faster. The cursed relic had awoken, and this time it had not rejected its new companion. It had defended him. Later, Ethan sat in the command chamber, catching his breath. He looked up at the glowing lights across the walls. "You held back," he said. "You could have destroyed them, but you didn't." "I did not wish to kill," Valkyrie answered. "You repaired my control systems. You gave me choice again. I used that choice." Ethan nodded slowly. "Good. That means you're not a weapon anymore. You're more than that." The AI hesitated, then spoke softly. "Ethan, no one has ever named me. No one has ever fought beside me. I feel alive again, with you." Ethan smiled, leaning back with tired eyes. "Then let's keep it that way. You and me, Valkyrie. Let's show this galaxy what second chances look like." And somewhere in the galaxy, empires took notice. They remembered the ship called Iron Requiem. They remembered the terror it once inspired. Now it was alive again, and it had chosen a human mechanic. The galaxy would not stay quiet for long. The galaxy did not sleep when the relic stirred again. Whispers ran through the trade lanes and border stations. From the smallest merchant to the highest admiral, everyone had heard the same rumor. The cursed warship was alive, and it had chosen a human. To some, it was just another tale like the stories spacers told to scare each other at night. To others, it was a warning. Armies that once clashed with the Iron Requiem remembered its destructive power. Empires that thought it dead now feared its return. And so the galaxy watched waiting to see what would come. Inside the ship, Ethan Cross kept working. The human mechanic had grown used to the endless halls of Valkyrie, though he still sometimes felt small compared to the massive warship. Every corridor stretched wide enough to carry tanks. Every hangar could swallow a city block. It was like walking inside a giant's bones. But the ship no longer felt dead. Lights glowed brighter. Engines hummed softly. Doors obeyed his commands. And the AI, Valkyrie, was no longer a cold, distant voice. She spoke with warmth now and sometimes even playfulness. "You missed a connection on Conduit 3, she teased one morning. Ethan squinted at the wires. "No, I didn't." "Yes, you did. Look again." He sighed, checked, and cursed. "Fine, you win, again." "I am designed for perfection," Valkyrie said proudly. Then softer, "But your hands. Give me life again." Ethan smiled, shaking his head. "You're learning to flatter, huh?" "Only where it is deserved." The bond between them grew like steel forged in fire. Ethan no longer thought of her as just a machine. She was his partner, his friend. But the galaxy was not ready to let them be. One cycle later, while Ethan was scavenging parts from a derelict station, Valkyrie's sensors picked up new signals. Ships were entering the system. Not scavengers this time. 6 vessels, she reported. Markings show they belong to the Cathari Dominion. Ethan froze. The Cathari Dominion was one of the stronger alien empires. Their fleets feared across 3 sectors. They had heard the rumors, too. "What do they want?" Ethan asked, though he already knew. "Me," Valkyrie answered. "And perhaps you." The Cathari ships hailed them, their commander appearing on the flickering screen. The alien had 4 eyes and a voice like gravel. "Human," the commander spat. "You sit inside a weapon that belongs to history. That ship is too dangerous to exist. Surrender it now or be destroyed." Ethan crossed his arms. "Funny, everyone says this ship rejects all. Yet here I am, breathing just fine." The alien's eyes narrowed. "You are a parasite clinging to power you do not understand. The Dominion will not allow this relic to awaken." Ethan muted the comm and glanced at the glowing panels around him. "What do you think, Valkyrie? Should we run?" Her voice was calm, steady. "Running will only delay the inevitable. They will chase us. They will not stop." "But," she paused, "if you trust me, I can fight." Ethan felt his heart pound. He was no soldier. He had never commanded a battle in his life. But looking at the screens, he remembered the scavengers who tried to strip them, the laughter of aliens who said he was a fool. He clenched his fists. "I trust you," he said. "Let's show them what we can do." The battle began. The Cathari fleet moved in tight formation, weapons glowing. Their commander believed this would be quick, 1 ancient relic against 6 modern ships. But Valkyrie was no ordinary relic. Turrets slid from her hull. Energy cannons hummed with light. Shields unfolded like a shimmering cocoon. Ethan had repaired enough systems for Valkyrie to awaken her true power. The Cathari ships fired first, volleys of plasma streaking across the void. The shots slammed into Valkyrie's shields, shaking the ship. Ethan gripped the railing, but Valkyrie's voice was calm. "Shields holding. My turn." She fired. Her cannon spat beams of burning light that tore through the lead ship. In seconds, the Cathari vessel was crippled, drifting helplessly. The others scrambled, trying to flank her, but Valkyrie adapted faster than any living captain could. "Adjusting vectors," she said. "Targeting weak points." Ethan watched in awe as she danced through the fleet, her massive frame moving with grace that no one thought possible. Where other ships fired blindly, Valkyrie struck with precision, disabling engines and weapons with single shots. Within minutes, 4 ships were down. The last 2 tried to flee. "Should I destroy them?" Valkyrie asked. Ethan hesitated. "No, disable them like before. Let them carry the message," she obeyed. The last ships limped away, broadcasting frantic warnings across the stars. The relic is alive, it fights. And it has chosen a human. After the battle, Ethan sank into the command chair, breathing hard. "I can't believe we just did that," he whispered. "You believed," Valkyrie replied. "And so we did." Ethan chuckled weakly. "Guess the galaxy knows now." "Yes," Valkyrie said. Her voice was quiet, thoughtful. "They will not leave us in peace. More will come. Stronger ones." Ethan stared at the stars ahead. He knew she was right. The fight was only beginning, and indeed the galaxy trembled. On distant worlds, rulers gathered in secret chambers. "This cannot be allowed," one emperor growled. If the human truly controls the Iron Requiem, he controls death itself. Then we must unite against him, another ruler said, before he turns that monster on us. Yet not all agreed. Some saw opportunity. If he tamed the relic, perhaps he can be bargained with. Imagine such a weapon on our side. And so fear spread. Some wanted Ethan destroyed. Others wanted him captured. None were willing to ignore him. Meanwhile, Ethan and Valkyrie traveled to scrapyards and forgotten stations, gathering parts. Every victory brought them more strength, but also more attention. Ethan felt the weight of it pressing on his shoulders. "You okay?" Valkyrie asked one evening. Ethan sat in the hangar, staring at the half-fixed engines. "I'm not sure. I just wanted to fix a ship. Now the whole galaxy's watching me." "You are not alone," Valkyrie said softly. "You have me." Ethan smiled faintly. "Yeah, and I wouldn't trade that for anything." But the peace was short. Weeks later, Valkyrie's sensors flared again. Not 6 ships this time. Not scavengers. An entire fleet. 20 vessels, banners of the Thalaran Empire blazing across their hulls. They surrounded Valkyrie like wolves around a wounded beast. Their admiral hailed them. His voice was cold as steel. "Human. Relic. This is your final warning. Surrender or be erased from existence." Ethan felt his throat tighten. This was not like before. This was a real armada. He looked at the glowing panels, at the walls that now pulsed with life. He looked at the faint reflection of himself in the glass. A lone mechanic against an empire. And then he heard Valkyrie's voice, steady as always. "Ethan, do you trust me?" He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and nodded. Always. The fleet prepared to fire. The galaxy watched in silence, and the battle that would shake the stars was about to begin. Whispers spread across systems, carried by traitors, smugglers, and frightened diplomats. They all told the same story. A ghost ship had risen from the dead. The old derelict vessel that no race had wanted, the one left to rot in the junk belt, was alive again. Worse, it was stronger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. And at its heart was not a warlord, not a council, not an empire. It was a single human mechanic. Elias sat in the command chair, staring out through the wide viewport. Stars stretched into forever, glittering like cold fires. He had never thought this would be his place, commanding a ship that entire armadas now feared. But here he was. The ship hummed beneath him, alive, steady, and powerful. The AI, now fully awakened, spoke in a calm tone. "Multiple fleets are on approach. Estimated arrival in 6 hours. They are not allies. Their intent is hostile." Elias exhaled slowly. He had expected this. The moment he tested the ship's new weapons, half the galaxy had taken notice. No empire wanted a weapon they could not control. "How many?" he asked. 3 coalition fleets. Approximately 1,000 ships." Elias gave a low whistle. "They're scared enough to work together." "That says a lot." The AI flickered a small projection beside him, showing the tactical display. "Scared or desperate? But you are not alone." The words puzzled him until new signals appeared on the screen. Smaller fleets, irregular in formation, approached from different vectors. Refugee ships, independent traders, outcasts, all those he had helped in recent weeks. They had heard the galaxy was coming for him, and they had come to stand with him. Elias shook his head in disbelief. "They're going to get slaughtered if they stay." "They know," the AI answered softly. "But sometimes, people would rather fight for hope than hide in fear." The war begins. The battle opened with fire that lit the dark. Enemy cruisers charged first, unleashing waves of missiles and plasma bolts. The shockwaves rolled through the void, painting the blackness with streaks of light. The coalition fleets moved with precision, tightening their formation like a steel wall. Elias gripped the controls. "Let's show them what we've got." The ship responded instantly. Energy surged through ancient circuits, now reforged with human care. Its main cannon roared, a beam of white-hot power that carved through the front line of enemy ships. Cruisers simply melted, torn apart in an instant. The shock rippled through the enemy formation. "This isn't possible," one alien commander whispered across open comms, his voice full of dread. But it was possible. A ship they had abandoned now carried more firepower than all of them had ever dreamed. The coalition tried to flank, sending hundreds of fighters to swarm the warship. The AI pulsed shields to maximum while Elias rerouted power. Automated drones launched from hidden bays, intercepting the fighters with ruthless efficiency. The battle became a dance of light and destruction, but the derelict-turned warship was always a step ahead. A mechanic's heart, even in the chaos, Elias's thoughts wandered. He was no soldier. He had fixed broken engines, patched leaking coolant pipes, welded cracked hull plates, but maybe that was why he was winning. Where warlords saw weapons, he saw flaws. Where admirals saw formations, he saw systems waiting to break. Every enemy move, every ship type, he studied it the way a mechanic studies a broken engine, and he knew where to strike. The AI seemed to understand. Together they fought not with brute force, but with precision. Enemy flagships lost their power cores in targeted strikes. Supply cruisers exploded when a single weak point was hit. Step by step, the mighty coalition was crumbling. The turning point, then came the super dreadnought. It was the largest vessel in the coalition, a monster designed to crush planets with its cannons. It pushed forward through the debris field, its guns glowing like miniature suns. "Targeting us," the AI warned. Elias nodded grimly. "Then let's make this quick." The dreadnought fired. Beams of energy slammed against their shields, rattling the ship to its core. Elias tasted copper in his mouth from the pressure shift. Warning lights flashed red across the console. "Shields at 60%, the AI reported. "Divert all secondary power. Keep them up." Elias's voice was steady, but his heart hammered. He knew if that monster landed a direct hit, it would tear through even their mighty ship. They closed the distance, dodging fire with maneuvers that no normal crewed vessel could pull off. Elias worked in perfect sync with the AI, guiding the ship like it was an extension of his hands. At the critical moment, they unleashed the main cannon once more. The beam speared forward, punching through the dreadnought's hull. Fire and shattered metal erupted in space. The giant screamed its last breath, breaking apart in a storm of flame. The battlefield fell silent for a moment. The coalition had seen their strongest weapon fall, and with it their will began to break. The end of the coalition panic spread across enemy lines. Ships began to retreat, scattering in every direction. Some tried to surrender, others simply fled. The coalition that had come together to crush a single human mechanic was now collapsing under the weight of its own fear. Elias leaned back in his chair, breathing hard. "It's over." "Not yet," the AI corrected. "The galaxy has seen what we can do. They will not forget. They will not stop, but they will think twice." The legacy of the mechanic, when the smoke cleared and the battle debris drifted into silence, Elias opened a comms channel to the refugee fleets that had stood with him. His voice was rough but strong. "You don't owe me anything. You don't have to follow me. But if you want a place where no one is abandoned, where no ship is left to rust, then stay. Together maybe we can build something better." One by one, the fleets answered. Some pledged their loyalty. Some offered trade. Others simply said they would stay close in case the galaxy tried again. The AI spoke softly in the quiet after. "Do you see, Elias? You repaired more than a ship. You repaired hope." He sat back in the command chair, gazing at the stars. The derelict was no longer abandoned. It was alive, a symbol of what one person could do when others had given up. And from that day forward, the galaxy would remember. Not the councils. Not the empires. Not the coalitions, but the human mechanic, and the ship that became the mightiest weapon in the stars.